Hi everyone, it's Debbie. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back. If you're new here, I'm a reseller. I've been reselling for 20 years and I absolutely love it. And today I have a what sold video for you. I'm going to share some items that sold in the month of July 2024. I had sales on both eBay and Poshmark. I sold a total of 98 items for a gross sales amount of $2,057.69. I put in about 10 to 15 hours a week, so these are very part-time numbers. When I was a full-time seller, it was a lot more, but I'm very grateful for these numbers now that I put a lot less time into it. As you can see, I am in a hotel room. I'm traveling with my husband again. He is on a business trip in San Antonio, and I love to get to come along with him. So I'm going to record this what sold video, and hopefully I can go to a thrift store or the Goodwill bins here tomorrow. I always love going thrifting here. In the month of July, I tried a couple new things. On eBay, I tried the offsite ads and I budgeted $5 a day, and I think I only continued it for about a week because it showed that I only made one sale. So I decided to discontinue that, but then I saw a message that it said it takes a few weeks to really take effect. So I decided to restart it and let it run the entire month of August and give it a real try and see if it does make a difference. So I will report back to you in the next what sold video if I did see a sales increase after leaving it on for a long time. When you promote an individual listing at a certain percentage, I always do that, at least 2%. I found that is very beneficial, but the offsite I'm not really sure about. Then on Poshmark, I had tried promoting one time before, and the budget was like $35 a week, $5 a day also. And I think it resulted in one sale of like $15. And so I thought, not worth it. So I had not promoted in a long time. And then I went ahead and tried again for 1 week. And I thought, I want to see if this will really help. $35 spent and it showed 0 sales. When you see like those results and it shows how much you have paid and how many sales you receive from that, it just feels not worth it to me. So if you've tried promoting off-site on eBay or promoting on Poshmark and you want to leave a comment below about your experience, that would be really great to find out what others have found. One tool that I have used for years now consistently, because I know it makes a difference in sales, is I use PrimeLister to automate my Poshmark closet. PrimeLister does all of the tasks that I used to spend literally hours on each week. Sharing my closet, sending offers to likers, following other people back, community shares, all of those things are automated with PrimeLister. I can tell when my items are shared, that's when the likes come in, that's when the offers are sent out, and that's when I actually make sales. So I really see it translate into sales. And it only costs $25 a month. So less than $1 a day when I was spending at least an hour a day doing those tasks. So that is so worth it to me. So I can spend my time doing other things like listing new inventory. And when I'm on trips like this with my husband, it is so nice that I can have PrimeLister to share my closet, send offers, all of those tasks that I talked about. And I don't even have to take my laptop with me. I don't have to think about it. All of those things are automatically set up to perform those tasks while I am gone. And it's all cloud-based, so I don't have to leave my computer on or open. I can have everything shut down and it continuously runs those tasks for me. If you are interested in trying out PrimeLister, I'll leave a link in the description box below, and I'll also pin a comment. If you use that link, I would appreciate it so much. And it will also give you 30% off your first month. However, they allow you to have a free trial first, and you don't even have to put a credit card in. So you can try it out with no risk of forgetting about it and it charging your credit card. You can see how it actually works for you. And then if you like it, then you continue on, and it's wonderful. I can't imagine selling on Poshmark without it. Now we will get to the what sold portion. We'll start on eBay. I had the most items sell on eBay. I sold 66 items for a gross amount of $1,343.69. I'll give the complete breakdown of all of my numbers at the very end if you are interested in those. The first item I sold I found on the very end of the aisle when I was in Goodwill, and I noticed that they were Rockies. Those were really popular when I was a teenager, so I knew they were vintage. I've sold them before and they sold really well, and I noticed they were a bigger size, so I thought these are going to sell great. There was no tag on it, so I was afraid when I got up to the counter they wouldn't sell it to me, because that has happened before. So when I got up to the counter to pay, I asked her if I could still buy them without a tag. I said, are they $8.79? And she said, no, I think they actually should be half price, $4.40. Is that okay? And I was like, yes, thank you. These were the vintage Rockies. Then I put Rocky Mountain jeans, women's plus size 30W. Then I put 50 because they had both of those on the tag. Then I put XL inseam. Then I wrote out the actual measurements, 48 by 31. I noticed on the hem of the pants that they had been altered, so I thought, oh no, that might reduce how much they sell for, but I just put it in the listing and they still sold great. They sold for a gross amount of $100.48. Then after shipping fees and taxes were taken out, the amount that I received back in the bank was $69.10. I paid just $4.40 at my regular Goodwill. They took just 3 days to sell, and my profit was $64.70. Definitely be on the lookout for Rockies. I've sold them in many sizes and they've done really well, but I think this is my highest profiting pair of Rockies. So plus sizes, once again, do wonderful. The next one I picked up that same day at my local Goodwill. This was the Abercrombie & Fitch Soft A&F sweatshirt, large, and then something I don't know how to pronounce.
Cacio e Pepe.
And it had embroidery on the front, and it said Naples, Italy. It sold for $56.38. My earnings were $35.80. I paid just $6.79 at my local Goodwill. It took just 1 day to sell. My profit was $29.01. The next item I picked up that same day, I was looking through the skirts and I saw this skirt said Hawaii in it. Anytime I find something made in Hawaii, I'm sure to stop and look it up because it often does well. This was the Rip Skirt Hawaii. Ooh, I'm not sure how to pronounce this. Shibori. Charcoal floral print, midi wrap skirt size extra large, and then I wrote out extra large, and then I put a 3. I guess there are different lengths, 1, 2, and 3, depending on the length of the skirt, and I found out that one was the 3 length. It was a longer length, so I didn't have room to put length 3, so I just chose to put in the 3 in case someone was searching for that. It was not perfect. It was almost perfect. It looked really good, but on the inside there was like a dark spot. It looked like ink or something. So I just noted that in the listing, and it still sold really well. It sold for $39.57. My earnings were $26.75. I paid just $5.99 at my local Goodwill. It took just 8 days to sell, and my profit was $20.76. The next item I thought was pretty interesting. We have an espresso machine, and I was ordering my coffee pods through Amazon, and I was looking at the prices to compare ordering them from Nespresso. Well, I figured out it was pretty close to the same price, but if you order like 10 sleeves, usually there's a gift with purchase. So I will pick out a gift with purchase that I find sells well on eBay, and that ends up really reducing the cost of our Nespresso pods. This was the Nespresso Nomad Travel Mug Touch 11-ounce coffee cup, chrome, new in box. It sold for $35.59. My earnings were $23.13. I put the cost of goods as 0 because we would have purchased those coffee pods anyway. This was just the gift with purchase. It took just 5 days to sell, and my profit was $23.13. The next couple items came from a Goodwill bins haul that I should have a video out shortly. I have not had a chance to film it yet. We've been really busy and things are already starting to sell. But this was one of the things. I found a pile of cycling jerseys and they all had like logos, team names on them, but I didn't let that stop me from picking it up because I have found that those things sell anyway, and they did fast. And this was one of them that sold really fast. It was Castelli sleeveless cycling shirt, men's 2XL, staple gun, Oklahoma City, full zip, and then I put XXL. I looked up staple gun, Oklahoma City, and that is a cycling group in Oklahoma City. But I think this went to California, so I've sold 2 of them already, and they didn't go to Oklahoma even though it was an Oklahoma team. So I thought that was pretty interesting. It sold for $36.57. My earnings were $22.70. I paid just 26 cents at the Oklahoma City Goodwill bins. It took just 1 day to sell, and my profit was $22.44. Just a quick reminder, if you're new and not subscribed, I'd love to have you back. Just hit the subscribe button down below, and if you hit the notification bell, it will let you know when I release new videos. Another item that I found that same day was the Juicy Couture velour joggers, pants, women's, size extra large, black. Then I put loungewear and sleepwear. I had not found any Juicy items for a little while, probably 6 months or so. So I wasn't sure if they were still selling well, but I thought, you know what, this is the bins. I'm not going to pay very much for it. I'm going to go ahead and try it out and see if there's still a market for it. Well, there was. It sold for $29.73. My earnings were $16.88. I paid just 71 cents at the Oklahoma City Goodwill bins. It took just 2 days to sell, and my profit was $16.17. Next dress I showed in a video where I had a Goodwill haul and I was going through the dresses, and I said I did not purchase the dress the day of that Goodwill haul video, but I came back later and purchased it when it went on sale for just $1.29. This was the David's Bridal dress, women's 14, coral reef, long mesh, one shoulder, bridesmaid. It sold for $33.71. My earnings were $15.89. I paid just $1.29 at my local Goodwill. It took 15 days to sell, and my profit was $14.60. So I'm glad I didn't buy it when it was $8 and I think 69 cents for full price for dresses. It would not have been very profitable and not worth my time. Purchasing it for $1.29 allowed me to make a $14.60 profit, which I think is great. So it's really important to look at sold comps, see what the item's going to sell for, and really pay attention to that cost of goods. The next 3 items came from a Goodwill haul that I had recently at my local Goodwill. The haul ended up being so good. Most of the items have already sold in that haul, and it has not been very long. This one was the new with tags See and Be Seen plus blouse, plus size 1X leopard floral embroidered boho top. It sold for $40.25. My earnings were $24.31. I paid just $6.01 at my local Goodwill. It took 1 month and 12 days to sell, and my profit was $18.22. From that same haul, I picked up this new with tags, $68 Victoria's Secret tote bag, large travel canvas sequin stripe rainbow. I had originally planned on just listing that one on Poshmark because the comps were a lot better on Poshmark, and I thought, I know it's going to sell there. I'm not going to cross list it. But then after a few days or a week, I thought, oh, I'll go ahead and cross list it to eBay. It'll just take a minute. And I couldn't believe it. I cross-listed it to eBay and it sold the same day that I listed it for $30.69. My earnings were $15.84. I paid just $4.99 at my local Goodwill, and my profit was $10.85. Another item from that same haul was the new with tags, $42 Audi, and I spelled it O-D-D-I and O-D-D-Y because I found the sold comps had it spelled both ways, but the correct one is the Y. size extra large. Then I put 1X large, leopard floral embroidered boho top blouse. It sold for $38.49. My earnings were $26.57. I paid just $6.09 at my local Goodwill. It took 1 month and 29 days to sell, and my profit was $20.48. At my local Goodwill, they are now doing once a week where they pick the oldest color, and that color is just $1.29. And I have found some really great items at just $1.29. This was the Alex Evenings Woman Plus Size 24W Dress Evening Gown, Gold Lace, Sequin Sleeveless. It sold for $46.58. My earnings were $29.03. I paid just $1.29 at my local Goodwill. It took just 17 days to sell, and my profit was $27.74. The next item, I wanted to throw this in there because it is Ann Taylor Loft. I have such good luck with Ann Taylor Loft. Now, it's not going to sell for $40 or $50, but I find it all the time. And if I can find it at the bins or on a $1.29 day, it sells really well. I'm not going to spend like $8.99 on it unless maybe it's like new with tags or depending on style. But this was great. This was the Ann Taylor Loft sleeveless knit dress, size MP, and then I wrote out medium petite, soft casual summer. It sold for $23.02. My earnings were $13.85. I paid just $1.29 at my local Goodwill, and it took just 1 day to sell. My profit was $12.56. This one was a pretty neat one. It was a vintage dress, and I had purchased it a long time ago, probably 7 or 8 years ago. Put it in a container, put it out in our shop, and just didn't touch it because at the time I thought sell-through rate is not good. These things aren't selling. Well, I've gone back now and pulled some of those items out, and now they're really selling. So I'm glad I didn't just redonate them and that I was lucky enough to have the space to store them. This was the Michael Blair vintage dress, size 12, black, gold, double-breasted, shoulder pads, 90s. It sold for $30.21. My earnings were $18.24. I paid just 25 cents for it at a thrift store in Midwest City, Oklahoma, 7 or 8 years ago. It's just been sitting after I listed it. It took just 2 months and 13 days to sell, and my profit was $17.99. Next, on Poshmark, I sold 32 items for a gross amount of $714. The first one was from when I was in San Antonio, same place I am right now, 1 year ago, and I have a thrift haul from when I was here before. This was the Jenny U Annabelle convertible bridesmaid dress, size 10, rose pink, tulle long. It sold for $61. My earnings were $48.80. I paid just $7.50 at a Goodwill in San Antonio. It took 10 days short of 1 year, and my profit was $41.30. But boy, it took a long time to get this payout. What happened was it arrived on July 16th, and it was held at the person's post office. So on the 24th, I noticed that it had been delivered a long time ago, but not picked up. So I sent a message to her and said that the dress had arrived at the post office and it was ready for her to pick up. Usually when that happens, the person messages me back and they go and get it right away. She still didn't pick it up. So I checked again a few days later and it said it would be returned back to me on the 30th. And so I thought, oh no, I don't want that to happen. So I messaged her again and let her know that. Well, she waited until the 30th and she finally picked it up, and she didn't accept it. So the funds were automatically released on August 2nd. It took a little while for that one to sell, and then the payout took a little while also, but I made a profit of $41.30. So I'm really happy with that. The next one is another cycling jersey. This jersey is a lot like the other one that I shared already, but it had some stains on the front. But I thought I'm going to list it anyway, and I bet it will still sell. And it did right away, not for a lot, but it still sold. This was the Castelli cycling jersey, men's size extra large, short sleeves, staple gun, Oklahoma City, full zip, extra large. Someone sent me an offer for $10, and so I thought, you know what, it has stains, I'll take it. So it sold for $10. My earnings were $7.05. I paid 59 cents at the Goodwill bins in Oklahoma City. It took 2 days to sell and my profit was $6.46. This item you've seen before. I sold it once and the person never paid. So I had to cancel the sale and relist it. It sold again. The person liked it, but I can't remember why, but she returned it. Then I listed again and finally it sold on Poshmark. So I thought, yay, it's not going to be returned. This was the Zuri silk dress, caftan, maxi, one size free dress. And then I put extra small, small, medium, large, extra large, since the one size would cover all those sizes, then boho and multicolor. It sold for $51. My earnings were $37.82. I originally listed it on March the 5th and it sold for the last time on July the 5th. So total with all of that back and forth and sales canceled was 4 months. So that's not bad at all. And I got great feedback when the person received it. I paid just $8.99 and my profit was $28.83. I only lost 31 cents on the return. So I didn't figure that in because that's in with my eBay numbers because I had the shipping higher. So when they returned it on eBay, even though I paid the return shipping label, they paid the original label, charged higher on the shipping. So I only lost 31 cents on the return. When I was at my local Goodwill and I thought the swimsuit section was probably pretty picked over, but I always like to look through it really quickly and see if I see maybe any miracle suits or Victoria's Secret swimsuits do really well also. This one I thought would do really well because it was black and it still had the hygienic liner in place. So it was not new with tags, but it was new with the hygienic liner in place. So I thought it would do well and sell quickly. This was the new Victoria's Secret Essentials Wicked Black one-piece swimsuit size medium. It sold for $27. My earnings were $21.60. I paid $5.79 at my local Goodwill and it took just 7 days to sell. My profit was $15.81. Next one came from my Goodwill haul in Galveston that I had 9 months ago, and I had recently said that I had a few things left from that haul. I figured out why this one had not sold yet. This is a Peter Millar polo, and I just kept reducing the price and reducing the price, and finally someone was really nice. They messaged me and said that I had the size wrong, and so I thought, oh, well, no wonder. I had it listed as an extra large and it was actually a large. So I corrected it and it sold in just 1 day after correcting it. So I probably could have sold it for higher had I not made that error. But I'm really grateful that that person let me know. This was the Peter Millar Summer Comfort Golf Shirt, men's large, River Crest, which was the logo on the sleeve, I believe. And then I put striped polo. It sold for $17. My earnings were $13.60. I paid just $5.99 at the Goodwill in Galveston, Texas. Well, that knock on the door was my husband. He was back and we went out to dinner to a place in San Antonio called Bluefin Sushi. And my husband said, just give us 8 of your best rolls. So we got to try some really good rolls that we might not have picked otherwise. So delicious place if you're ever in the San Antonio area. I will continue with the items. The next item was a new with tags, $145 Polo Ralph Lauren size medium pink iCat plaid shirt. Then I wrote out the word medium, then button front. It sold for $46. My earnings were $36.80. I paid just $9.99 at Dillard's department store. It was at the end of season and they marked the entire rack of shirts down for $9.99. And I probably purchased 200 shirts. This one was the last one to go, but it took 7 or 8 years or so for all of them to sell out. Polo Ralph Lauren has become a slower seller, but it does sell eventually. And my profit on that shirt was $26.81. I recouped my money, though, on that purchase right away and made a lot of profit early on. So sometimes it just takes those last couple items a little while to trickle out. The next item is a pair of blue Delta pants, and I wanted to show a few images from their website because you definitely want to be on the lookout for items from this brand. They retail really high. They have pants, jeans, shorts, they have men's and women's belts, hats. If you find a pair of jeans or pants from this brand, you won't find a size on them because they're custom made. But I don't let that keep me from picking them up. I measure the waist and the inseam, and I just put that in my title and description, and they still sell just fine. On this listing, I titled it $450 Blue Delta Jeans, Traveler's Pants, 33 by 31, dark blue, performance. They weren't denim material, they were the performance pants. Then I put 33 because that was the waist measurement. They sold for $75. My earnings were $60. My cost of goods was $0 because these were my husband's pants. He just did not like how slim fitting they were. So rather than just get rid of them, he gave them to me to sell them. They took 2 months and 5 days to sell, and my profit was $60. To go over my numbers, in the month of July 2024, I sold a total of 98 items for a gross sales amount of $2,057.69. The money that I received back in the bank after fees and postage was $1,229.84. My total cost of goods was $239.26, and my profit for the month of July was $990.58. On eBay, I sold 66 of those items for $1,343.69. The money that I received back in the bank was $702.05. My cost of goods for eBay items sold was $119.12, and my profit was $582.93. On Poshmark, I sold 32 of the items for a gross amount of $714. The money I received back in the bank was $527.79. My cost of goods was $120.14, and my profit for Poshmark was $407.65. Out of the 98 items that I sold in July, 70 of them were thrifted, 19 came from liquidation, and 9 from retail arbitrage. That really shows that I have been thrifting a lot lately, and I haven't been ordering liquidation or looking at items for retail arbitrage nearly as much, which I love those areas too. So I'm going to try to put a little more focus into those areas in the next coming months. So that is everything that I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching, and everybody have a great day. Bye.